We will not be able to solve all of our problems by merely joining the unified cry against people we now designate as extremists. All too often, an extremist to a particular individual is merely a person whose solutions to problems are greatly different from his own. Quite frequently, those whose views upset us greatly are killed off by characterizing them with some scare word. We call them communist, radicals, pinko, fascist, extremist, and now Burgess. We will hardly meet the challenge posed by the extreme left or the extreme right by mere name calling. If these represent an evil, and I believe they do, we must understand and describe that evil. We must expose the anti-democratic nature of their methods and philosophy. Unless we meet and defeat them on this level, we have not fulfilled our highest mission. We cannot fool the people forever. They will conclude for themselves that in a democratic society there's a place for the expression of all views, be they extreme, mild, or moderate. The founding fathers, for example, were hardly moderate or mild in their views toward King George III, and the abolitionists held notoriously extreme views toward slavery. They were, in a way, extremist all, but this alone hardly made them bad. The views of the Negro youth in the South rebelling against racial discrimination by the sit-in movement or the Freedom Riders may well be extreme, but this does not make them necessarily bad or wrong. Whether you are an extremist to be castigated or applauded will turn, it seems to me, when history illuminates the present with its brilliant retrospective light, more upon whether you were extremely wrong or extremely right, but hardly upon just that you were extreme. The real danger in condemning as bad the mere holding of extreme views is that inevitably it will tend to silence or moderate dissent and stifle intellectual freedom. People will be reluctant to express views, be they good or bad, which will tend to bring them into disrepute as extremists. We must test and challenge ideas on their merits and not attack the person who merely dares to differ in a provocative and significant way. When by private and public ridicule we force everyone down the middle of the road, no one will be left to chart the unexplored hinterlands. I suppose a strong case could be made for the proposition that moderates and mild people may be good for holding hard-won gains, for maintaining the status quo, but significant new trends and progress are usually the exclusive domain of those who differ. The purpose of the First Amendment was to protect the holding and expressing of all views, be they mild, moderate, or extreme. This view was expressed by Justice Black of the United States Supreme Court when he said, quote, "The proponents of the First Amendment were determined that every American should possess an unrestrained freedom to express his views, however odious they may be," unquote. When our nation was but a tiny infant among nations, it is not difficult to understand why the expression of diverse political views brought charges and countercharges of disloyalty and treason. It would be hoped, however, that in the heyday of our power, we will be able to recognize the ability to tolerate views of all kinds as a sign of maturity and as the source of our unique strength. Thank you.